Fans, coming up next is a match with some very personal issues to be settled. No pinfalls, no submissions. Basically anything goes. The idea is to incapacitate your opponent. The Dark City Death Match is next.
Let me ask you a question, sir.
Why not?
Where does Corey Chavis hail from?
The Dark City.
Once again, the name of this match?
The Dark City Death Match.
You see, Corey Chavis is the proprietor of the Dark City Death Match. He has perfected it beyond perfection. What makes Jeff Lewis think he can waltz down that ramp there, step in the ring, and hold a candle to Corey Chavis in a Dark City Death Match? This could be a very bad day for Mr. Jeff Lewis. He may go from being the B-flick Jeff Lewis to being left on the cutting room floor.
Jeff Lewis has revenge on his mind. That's an incredible motivational factor for him, for everything the Elite and Corey Chavis have done to him over the past couple of months. The Dark City Death Match is next on Seasons Beatings.
Seasons Beatings, 2007. You know Jeff Lewis, Iceberg, Michael Judas, we were all very close one time. You were all members of the NWA Elite at one time, and you've all visited my office before. And I want to take you back as you come into my office and you make that left down the hall, and above the door, you see one of my favorite pieces of murderabilia. It's an exact replica of the sign that hung over the throne of the great Jim Jones in Jonestown. And let me remind you of what it says. Those who do not remember the past are condemned to repeat it. Jeff Lewis, let me remind you of the past. The last time you had a match with the Soul Assassin, it was First Blood. And he left you looking like Carrie at the prom. And boy, that was just the beginning. Because the next time you were in the ring with the ruthless villain, he locked you in the Hillside Strangler and tightened it and tightened it. And he would have left you for dead right then and there if not for threats of suspension. But he left you flat on your belly, carried to the back. And what have you done since then? Run around, run your mouth, talk big, try and attack from behind. But the reality is you have done nothing. And now, tonight, you've got to face this man in a Dark City death match. Pinfalls don't end it, Jeff Lewis. Submission doesn't end it. The only way you can win is when your opponent cannot answer a 10 count. And I promise you, tonight, when the Soul Assassin gets his hands on you, he's gonna beat you down, and beat you down, and bust your face open, and smash you into the post, and grind your face on the floor, and every horrendous thing he can do to you, until you're left for dead in the middle of that ring. And they can stop counting at 10, because you're not gonna get up. At 100, 200, you will be carried to the back tonight, Jeff Lewis, and this thing with you and Corey Chavis will come to an end. Now, as we get to the heavyweight champion, the most important prize in professional wrestling today, the Universal Soldier, Shatter, is coming to the ring. And maybe, let me remind you now, Iceberg, first time you stepped foot in the ring with the Universal Soldier, PTSD, done. The first pinfall loss in Anarchy for you. Then we come back to the War Games, and the Universal Soldier took a piece of table and stuck it so deep in your throat, he gave you a homemade tracheotomy. And what happened? You quit. Not for the first time in Anarchy, but for the first time in your professional wrestling career, you quit at the hands Universal Soldier. But the soldier didn't quit. He took the table and went right back to digging it in that hole. And we took pity on you. We showed mercy that night as we pulled Shatter off of you and left you flat on your back in that cage. And that's exactly what's gonna happen to you every single time you stare across the ring from the Universal Soldier. And last, and certainly least, let's talk about Michael Judas. Michael Judas, you show back up with your makeup and your mysticism and your crosses and your collars and all your bull crap, as far as I'm concerned, because it doesn't scare the NWA Elite, and it sure as hell doesn't scare the Universal Soldier. So let me remind you of what happened when you got your title shot at the Universal Soldier. PTSD. Not once, but twice. Post-traumatic stress disorder. And Michael Judas, as always, when the Universal Soldier's finished, you were flat on your back. So tonight, in this match, when you and Iceberg come to that ring, nothing is gonna be different. You know, some people say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different response. Well, you must be insane if you think you stand a chance in hell tonight with the Universal Soldier, because this belongs to him, and it's always gonna be his, not yours, never. So Iceberg, Michael Judas, Jeff Lewis, sayonara, scumbags tonight, because the NWA Elite into glory ride over the top of your vanquished pride. We'll see you in hell. Tell Satan we said hi.
Contest is the Dark City Death Match. There is no disqualifications and no countout. To win, once a pinfall is scored, either Corey Chavis or Jeff Lewis has until the count of 10 to reach their feet. If either man is unable to reach their feet by the 10 count, the match is over. Ladies and gentlemen, your official is Harold James. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing first.
And here is, as you called him, the proprietor of the Dark City Death Match, the guy who won the only other Dark City Death Match ever. But his opponent here has got a lot of motivation.
Ladies and gentlemen, he hails from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, weighing in.
Has got to be off his rocker because he's stepping into a Dark City Death Match. Direct to DVD, the B flick is going to be left on the cutting room floor. I've said it once, I'll say it 100 times. It's the best place for him because tonight he's going to find out exactly what it's like to walk through the Dark City and have to stare down the proprietor of the Dark City Death Match, Corey Chavis.
Referee Harold James explaining the rules here to both men. He calls for the bell, and we start off hot and heavy. Right hands. Jeff Lewis getting the better of the fisticuffs here. Winds up. Right hand. Out goes the ruthless villain of the NWA Elite. Corey Chavis eats a chop, and it didn't take long for these guys to head out to the arena floor. Remember, there are no countouts. There are no submissions. There are no disqualifications. The rules are very simple. Pin your opponent, and if he doesn't answer the 10 count after the pin, the match is over.
Well, let me tell you something, Greg Hunter. All that's going to be for naught. I don't think either one of these men wants to pin the other. I think they just want to beat the entire nation off of each other.
It has been over 4 years since there was a Dark City Death Match.
The first one was so violent that there's never been a want or desire to host a second one. The carnage in the original Dark City Deathmatch under the Wild Side banner was too much for a lot of people to bear. But to get his hands on Corey Chavis, the only man to ever win a Dark City Deathmatch, Jeff Lewis said, yes, I will put my body through hell for the opportunity to get my hands on Corey Chavis. And make no mistake, folks, both of these men are going to put each other through hell. That's the only way the match is going to end.
Greg Hunter, but the one thing Jeff Lewis needs to do is keep his attention on Corey Chavis. He's not going to win this contest by just chasing Jeff G. Bailey around the ring. In fact, it might get him a 5-knuckle sandwich across the face, and he may lose his smile.
Well, right now, big vertical suplex. Corey Chavis on the receiving end, big elbow drop. And now, Jeff Lewis with the cover, only a 2 count. Remember, folks, because we've never seen a Dark City Deathmatch here in NWA Anarchy, I don't want to belabor the point. A pinfall does not end this contest. It merely triggers the 10 count of the referee. Those are the only 2 duties that referee Harold James has. Count to 3, then try to count to 10. Big kick from the ruthless villain, the man that, in the words of Jeff G. Bailey, has drained more blood than the Red Cross. Cover and only a 2 count.
Well, you know what? Hopefully he'll drain enough blood out of Jeff Lewis and we won't have to see him here anymore. Hopefully he'll rid the world of this horrible, horrible B-flick known as the feature presentation, Jeff Lewis. I'm tired of seeing his smirk. I'm tired of seeing his stupid face around here. I'm tired of hearing him belittle the NWA Elite, Jeff G. Bailey. It makes me sick to my stomach.
Shining Wizard, handful of tights, and there is our first.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Lewis has been pinned. He now has until the count of 10.
Well, he's already on his feet, folks. So much for the referee's count.
Now you see something, Greg Hunter? One mistake that he just made. He adds to the count of 10 to get up. Why not buy yourself that extra 10 seconds to stand up? It gives you a bit of a breather.
It is a common tactic in boxing that when you get knocked down, even if you're not that hurt, you wait till about 7 or 8 to get back to your feet just to have the extra few seconds to rest. So very true. A mistake there from the feature presentation. A mistake from Corey Chavis was turning his back to the feature presentation, who has not always been the most law-abiding man when it comes to his tactics inside the ring, as we can currently see.
Well, Greg Hunter, it doesn't matter right now because this is all legal. Everything is legal in this match, Greg Hunter. If they wanted to go grab a kitchen sink, if they wanted to grab a fan from the 3rd row and use them, they can do that. It's all perfectly legal.
And right now, stomps to the chest of the Soul Assassin, Corey Chavis, being pulled to his feet now. The feature presentation, right hand, and now sends him off to the ropes. Big back elbow. Both of these men have been NWA Anarchy champion. The crowd, I think, would much prefer that Jeff G. Bailey.
Oh, come on now. What's he doing?
He is showboating and wasting a lot of time. A weakness that Jeff Lewis has had for quite some time, quite frankly. But right here, it could cost him dearly in this violent environment. And right there, you see the efforts, the showboating of the feature presentation costing him, because he gave the Soul Assassin time to recover, something you cannot do against Corey Chavis.
Yeah, let him go get Bailey now with that shoulder injury there. Yeah, let's go get Bailey now. Why aren't the fans saying go get Bailey now? Because they know that that's what's going to happen. A 5-knuckle sandwich by Jeff G. Bailey.
And that is perfectly legal in this contest. The right hand from Bailey is as legal as a wrist lock. Both of these men have many common accolades between them. Both men, former Anarchy heavyweight champions. Both men, former World's Television champions. And if Corey Chavis If Corey Chavis was a kicker for the Clemson Tigers, they might have made it to the ACC championship. Right now, rubbing Jeff Lewis's face right into the canvas.
Greg Hunter, you got to remember something. Just a few months ago, these guys were teammates in the NWA Elite. Jeff Lewis couldn't hack it as a member of the NWA Elite.
Couldn't hack it?
He could not hack it as a member of the NWA Elite. He was always a second-tier player. He was always riding the pine for the NWA Elite.
He was the former Anarchy heavyweight champion. He was a major player in the war with the Devil's Rejects. He was a major factor at War Games. How in the world can you say the man was second string?
He was second. That's what Jeff G. Bailey told me.
Oh, well, Lord knows Jeff G. Bailey speaks the gospel. Sit out gourd buster by Corey Chavis. Cover, hook of the leg, and only a 2 count.
You see, now what Corey Chavis is doing is very smart here. He's attacking the one part of the body that could put you out cold, the head. He sticks with his head attack, goes for the pin, goes right back to it. The thing about it is if he knocks him out, there is no getting up, Greg Hunter.
Very true, scoop and a slam. Corey Chavis off the ropes, and now, just mocking the feature presentation, and now the showboating tactics cost the Soul Assassin.
No, he wasn't mocking him. Corey Chavis taught Jeff Lewis how to bow.
Good grief. Clothesline nearly takes Jeff Lewis out of his boots.
That's what Bailey told me.
Oh, I'm sure it's true. Cover and a hook of the leg and only a 2 count. And right now, the Soul Assassin in his environment doing a great deal of damage to the feature presentation. Chinlock applied now. Jeff Lewis trying to break the hands, trying to battle free, trying to pull them loose. The crowd here rallying behind the feature presentation. Jeff Lewis to a knee, now back to a vertical base. Right hands, elbows, and all for naught. A handful of hair puts down the feature presentation.
And once again, all perfectly legal. No rules in this one. And Corey Chavis, like I said, he is the king. He is royalty when it comes to these Dark City death matches. This is only the second one. He's undefeated. It was so brutal in the first one that they haven't even seen fit to have a second one. Could you just imagine what it's going to be like at Jeff G. Bailey's residence after tonight when Shatter still holds the Anarchy Heavyweight Championship and when Corey Chavis rids the wrestling world of Jeff Lewis? Can you imagine that big party?
Right hand to the gut and a forearm across the back. It remains to be seen, for one, if Shatter's going to walk out of here tonight as heavyweight champion. He will. But it also remains to be seen if they're going to rid the wrestling world of Jeff Lewis, because the feature presentation is rallying back. He gets caught. Modified scoop slam by the Soul Assassin. Hooks the far leg and only a 2 count.
Well, you know, the thing about it is Corey Chavis right there, I've seen a look of frustration. He needs not to get frustrated. You're not going to get a pin every time. The pins don't matter. It just means he can do more damage to Jeff Lewis. He needs to stay on the attack like he's doing right now and just take it right to Jeff Lewis and just end this travesty that has been Jeff Lewis's career.
And now, Corey Chavis, boot in the mouth, looking for a knockout blow, so to speak, and only a 2 count. A strategic point here for Jeff Lewis. Jeff Lewis could very easily, and I think his pride as a competitor will keep him from doing this, he could very easily simply let himself get pinned at a point in this contest, such as he is right now, desperately in need of a breather, and simply eat up the 10 count. I've seen that in many other combat sports, but I think 2 things. Jeff Lewis is inexperienced in a Dark City death match, the instinct of kick out every time you're covered, and I don't think pride will allow him to get pinned again by the Soul Assassin.
Oh, come on. Pride? Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not.
How much pride can a B-flick have? How much pride can you have when you're direct to DVD like Jeff Lewis? You know that if Corey Chavis pinned him, it's because Corey Chavis wanted to. Not because Jeff Lewis would let him win just to get a 10-second break.
Jeff Lewis, the feature presentation. You're not careful, you keep calling him a B-movie. A lot of B-movies become cult classics, but not thanks to the spine splitter. 2-3, and once again,
Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Lewis
our
has
10
once
count
again
will
been
begin.
He now has until the count of 10
Referee
to
Harold
get to his
James
feet.
is getting the Soul Assassin to the neutral corner.
Now,
and
why did he
administering
wait?
the count.
I'm sorry. Why did he wait so long to start counting, Greg Hunter?
He waited to get Corey Chavis to a neutral corner. Very simple concept. And right now, we're up to 8. And now, at the count of 9, the man is back on his feet. And still, the assault, no let up, no break for Jeff Lewis. Corey Chavis right back on top of him. Now with the right hands in the corner. He is simply pounding away at the skull of the feature presentation.
Well, Greg Hunter, we got to remember back at Friday night, these guys were in a first blood match.
Oh, wait a minute. Moves out of the way. He has it up. And a belly to back into a power bomb by the feature presentation. And now, lateral press, hooks the leg, and only a 2 count. Jeff Lewis, the presence of mind to go for the cover.
But he may have taken a little bit too much time because, I mean, that was a 2 3/4 count there, Greg Hunter.
Well, Jeff Lewis has taken an insane amount of punishment thus far. Big right hand, and now return fire from Lewis. They are trading back and forth. Jeff Lewis with the upper hand. Jeff Lewis clothesline, and they both spill out to the arena floor.
And Greg Hunter, now both men are down. Both men, I mean, right here, this is the perfect opportunity for one of these guys to get their wits back about them. And right now, it looks like that man may be Jeff Lewis as he's first up back to his feet.
Jeff Lewis is back to his feet. Jeff Lewis going back to Corey Chavis, wanting to keep the pressure on, but Chavis, open hand, palm thrust, right between the eyes. And the Soul Assassin just got sidestepped and sent headlong into the steel ring post.
Now, this may not bode very well for Corey Chavis the rest of this match. I mean, that's a head injury right there just waiting to happen. That's a blow to the head.
Well, right now, Jeff G. Bailey checking on his charge. Jeff Lewis getting back in the ring.
Now, just a real quick point to make out here. Corey Chavis technically could stay outside the ring for a couple minutes and buy himself some time because there is no countout. That is another big advantage to a match like this, Greg Hunter.
Corey Chavis has also been lacerated. Now he will not only fight the head injury, now he will fight blood loss at the same time. And right now, Jeff Lewis getting his wits back about him, and the crowd rallying behind the feature presentation as he has drawn first blood. Somewhat symbolic considering what happened at Fright Night. And right now, big clothesline, you could hear that impact. And Jeff Lewis waiting for Corey Chavis to get back to his feet. Right hand, and the Soul Assassin is down. And now, clawing away at the wound on the skull of the Soul Assassin.
Now, granted, Greg Hunter, this is not going to help his cause any, that being Corey Chavis. But at the same time, this bloodthirst may not help Jeff Lewis's cause out any either, because if he gets too preoccupied with drawing more blood from Corey Chavis, it could take his mind off the match and make mental errors.
But keep in mind, the more blood that Corey Chavis loses, the weaker he will get. That is a simple fact. And right now, Jeff Lewis is looking for something under the ring here. He has pulled up the ring skirting here on over here on the side of the ring closest to us, and well, Jeff Lewis has found ye old Home Depot special.
And I mean, the thing about it is, this isn't looking good. If he sets that thing up, we know the only thing that can happen is him going to try to send Corey Chavis through it.
Corey Chavis firing back there. Corey Chavis, I don't know if he realizes there's a table in the ring yet or not. Oh, wait a minute. Right there, Jeff Lewis with the final curtain. 1, 2, and only a 2 count. Jeff Lewis took a lot of time to get that table and gave Corey Chavis a chance to rest.
Regardless, Greg Hunter, how many people kick out of the final curtain? It's not one of those things that happens very often.
It certainly isn't. Very few people have kicked out of that final curtain. Right now, the feature presentation trying to pull Corey Chavis to his feet. Corey Chavis practically down. Corey Chavis playing possum. Dark City Street Cutter. I don't know if that was possum or desperation, but the Soul Assassin with the Dark City Street Cutter. 1, 2, and now it is Jeff Lewis's turn to rise from the grave.
Greg Hunter, I mean, the thing about it is both these men have doiled out so much punishment to each other, it's going to be hard to call this one. It's hard to even try to pick a winner in this one because both men have done so much to the other that this thing could end either way right now.
Well, right now, Corey Chavis has found the lumber, and Corey Chavis is going about setting up the table. I don't know how wise this is. Oh, boot to the back. Well, that'll keep Jeff Lewis down a couple of seconds. I'll say the longer it takes him to set up the table, the longer Jeff Lewis has to rest, the longer he has to recover. In a match of this nature where the objective is to completely disable the opponent, to incapacitate him, you don't want to take the pressure off. A big right hand, though, make it 2. The table is right in the middle of the ring. Jeff Lewis sent to the corner looking for the spine splitter through the table, but Jeff Lewis with the right hands and a kick to the nether regions puts Jeff Lewis down.
Wise maneuvering there by Corey Chavis. Kick him in the family jewels and put him down. That's what I always say.
I'm sure that's what you always say, JJ, but the fact is, like everything else in this match, perfectly legal. And now, Corey Chavis sitting on the top rope, right hand pulling Jeff Lewis into position. I can only imagine what is going through the sick mind of Corey Chavis, but Jeff Lewis trying to fire back. They are teetering on the second rope. Now, Jeff Lewis goes up, belly to belly superplex, and Corey Chavis just went through the lumber.
And Greg Hunter, I mean, he went straight through it. Full impact there was Corey Chavis. And now if Jeff Lewis can make the cover, he has the perfect opportunity to win this match.
Jeff Lewis drapes the arm across. 2, 3. The Soul Assassin is not moving.
He now has until the count of 10 to get back to his feet.
Now wait a minute. Why does he start counting?
He's saying it is both. He is counting both men down. And right now, both men are down here after a pinfall.
Come on, Corey, get up.
It is a horse race now between Jeff Lewis and Corey Chavis. Who gets to their feet first? We're at the count of 7. Now to 8. Jeff Lewis is on his feet. And this one's over.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner, the feature presentation, Jeff Lewis.